Good morning, everyone. Oh, good afternoon. We're back here again in Lisbon Airport, LPPT, at stand 301, even though the scenery claims it's 302, but also claims that the stand next to it is 302, but this is 301. I had some issues on the last one with reliability of X-plane, so this is going to be a test flight. Back to our cold and dark Ben Crossland Airbus A330-900. Hydraulics not pressurized, hence the rudder flopping off to one side. Do we also have elevators drooped? Yep, so the elevators aren't pressurized either. So yeah, cold and dark aircraft. We're just going to try and get this to Bilbao. It's about an hour's flight. And either it will be successful, because I've upgraded this from a beta version of X-Plane to a full production release, in which case it's more stable, or it's going to crash, and we can have a look at the logs and try and figure out what the problem is and fix it. Because I don't like unreliable flights, and you probably don't either. So, let's get this pony show on the road. Let's bring up X-Pilot. Today we are Tomjet 84 Romeo again. In fact, let's skip across to... see if I can do this. There we go. So this is our routing today. We are going to go from Lisbon on the west coast of Portugal to the northeast, and we're going to land here in Bilbao. So we're going to do a full flight, but relatively short, just enough to exercise the demons out of X-Plane. So let's just go through this. So Tomjet 84 Romeo from Lisbon. Let's have a look at the weather in Lisbon. The METAR currently is variable at 4 knots, very light winds, ceiling and visibility okay. Current temperature is 28 degrees Celsius, dew point is 15, QNH 1024. You really couldn't ask for a better day. So the weather is very, very obviously VFR, visual flight rules, and we've got basically unlimited visibility as far as we're concerned today. Double check the weather in Bilbao. We have winds are 300 at 6 knots, which again is absolutely fine. Quite variable, so light and variable, 6 knot winds. It's not going to be a hassle for this aircraft. Ceiling and visibility okay, 27 degrees, so I think that's 1 degree cooler, and the dew point is 1 degree higher. Higher pressure, no significant weather. Perfect, 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 perfect. Weather is not going to be a factor for us today. So we're going to go through, we're just going to let, this is SimBrief, dispatch.simbrief.com, we're going to let it decide what our best climb profile is, what our best performance is going to be. We're going to use the Lido flight plan format. We're going to use pounds as our units, even though we really should use kilos because it's an Airbus, isn't it? Let's switch it to kilos, and then we may have a task later on to figure out how we switch the aircraft across to kilos. We're on the current AirAC, which I have actually downloaded. It's the scheduled flight. Does that really matter? Don't think it matters. And so this route is currently showing up as 140 block time. And we've got a selection of routes that we can choose. That one looks fairly direct. That one's exactly the same. That one's exactly the same. Oh, that one's a bit more north. I think I prefer that one. We'll go up and see a bit of the Bay of Biscay. And we'll come in from the coast, because normally you land... I say normally you land from west to east, but it's set our arrival runway is 30. So let's go with what it recommended, because that's actually lining us up nicely with that westerly runway. Okay, so if we go to the top and click Generate Flight, build all the information that we need. Here we go. So that's the route. I'm going to view the PDF, so you can see our flight plan in the PDF, all the information we need to set the aircraft up. And what I'll do is I will download the flight plan into the aircraft and I will pre-file us onto the network. So let me just skip you back across to the amazing aircraft over here. What I will do as well is I will log into Xpilot, Tomjet 84 Romeo, connect to VATSIM, and hopefully we might even see some traffic load in. There we go. Do we have any controllers? Nothing yet, but we do have a little bit of traffic on the airfield. Now then, bear with me, I'm just going to pre-file on the network. That flight plan is filed. And I'm also going to download the route. So if I appreciate you can't see this. Download into Xplane 12, output FMS plans. Save. Okay, so we are good to go here. Okay, so let's get some power into the aircraft. If we scooch over, we're going to rely on the external power for now because that's plugged in by default, and we're also going to turn on the batteries. While we're here, we'll just get rid of any white lights that are on in the cockpit. Turn on the pack flow as well, turn on the crew supply and set the evacuation to captain in person. Also, because it takes a few minutes, we're going to get the IRSs spinning and then we can start our checklists. So, into ISCS, first thing we're going to do is sim config, and I think somewhere in here we have the option to use imperial units. No, so we're now on kilograms. That's what we wanted. Today's flight is going to be, clear all of that, go to init. So our flight today is going to be from, how has this been saved? So I think what we had to do last time was go LPPT / LEBB in the from and to, and that will pop up with our route. Lisbon 01, insert that. Flight number, Tomjet 84 Romeo. Packs on board will be 261, strange number. Cost index is 14. I'm just getting this information from the flight plan that that sim brief was generated for us. And what is our cruise today? I don't see it, but we do have Lisbon ground online, which is good. I think it's claiming a 4. That can't be right. Does that put us on a 400-foot flight plan? That's not going to work. So we're heading primarily northeast, which means that we can use an odd-numbered flight level. Let's go to 33, flight level 330, 33,000 feet. Go into IRS init, align on ref, confirm align. Now we've got 7 minutes before the IRSs, the laser gyroscopes line up. Is there a way of accelerating that? Maybe not. Okay, so from PAX, we said we're going to take 261 people. I'm going to have to redistribute them a little bit to remain within the flight envelope. Our cargo today, payload 261. That can't be right, can it? 26.1. That must include the passengers. So if we do 12, 13 and a half in the front, nah, we're going to get too heavy that way. It must just be the passengers. So we'll take 7 tons of cargo, and we're going to take fuel 13.6. Not a lot of fuel. I'm going to take 15, just it's a nice round number. Quick defuel, refuel. Apply those load settings. The above settings give a zero fuel weight center of gravity of 20.8%, zero fuel weight of 174 tons before the fuel gets loaded on. Then we add an additional 15 tons of fuel. So we've got ground services. We've got chocks aren't on, but we have our, hopefully, I hate this thing, but our parking brake is on, so that's fine. We've got external power, but we'll be turning on our APU in a moment. So let's dive straight into the checklists. So preliminary cockpit check, that's off, that's norm. Those are off by default. Landing gears down, wipers are off. Batteries on, batteries on. One of my batteries below, nope. All batteries above, so that's all good. If external power, that's on. Cockpit preparation, overhead lights, all white lights are off, checked. Recorder, ground control, we couldn't find that last time. I switched that to captain and purser. Adaroo 123 is on nav. Reset panel left is checked. External lights, let's put the external lights on. This is why we use a checklist. So we want both the wing lights and the tail logo light on. Probably don't need the tail logo light on in daytime. And that's it. So if we set the strobe to auto, yeah, I think that's all we need. So let's go through that list. So strobe is on auto, beacon's off, nav and logo, we've chosen just to use the nav. No other external lights. Seatbelts to on, so we have refueled the aircraft, so we can legitimately turn on the seatbelt sign now. Set the no portable electric devices to auto. Let's check, that's auto. Emergency exit lights to arm. So that's a emergency exit lights to arm. So I'm going to turn on the standby compass. So emergency exit lights to arm. Probe window heat check auto. Probe window heat check auto. Probe window heat is in auto, so it's either on or auto. Check. Cabin pressure landing elevation should also be auto. Cabin pressure, mode select, manual or auto, checked. Pressure valve select to both. Pressure valve select to both, correct. Pack flow to norm. Now, there isn't a norm, is there? It's in auto, as it should be. What I'm going to do at this point is I really should just follow the checklist, shouldn't I? But I really want to get the APUs on. So pack flow is in auto, not norm. I'm going to assume all the batteries are fine. Fuel tail tank mode to auto. That should definitely be in auto. Yep, that's in auto. Both mode and the other one. So mode and feed are both auto. Check, check. All engine agent 1 and 2 out. We'll do a fire test, so it's about to get alarmy in here. So we'll do the APU one first, because that's what we're going to launch. That's what we're going to start first. Been watching too many SpaceX videos lately. That's fine, all the lights are on. That's fine, all the lights are on. Fire test complete. Maintenance panels all lights out, ventilation panels all lights out. Cargo, we don't need to worry about that today. Couldn't figure out what that was last time. CVR test. Is there a test button on the CVR? Cockpit voice recorder. I don't think we could find that last time. Reset panels, right, check. Standby instruments. Check, we'll check that in a minute. North reference, we'll check that too. ECAM DMC, everything's on the right screen. ECAM ND transfer, we don't need to worry about that. Clock is installed. Landing gear will not be, gravity extension will not be used. Anti-skid nose wheel steering. Anti-skid nose wheel steering is enabled. RMP 123. So what's that? Reduce radio. Is that radio man page? Something like that. So we've got 3 VHF radios on board. That's where you switch it from intercom to radio, which is quite cool. Okay, I don't know. Let's say yes. Com frequency, we'll tune that in a moment. Intercom, VHF, we're not going to use high frequency. Accumulator pressure, to check we've got brakes. Yeah, it's off 0. Parking brake is on. Brake pressure, we can't really check. Switching panel, check norm. Okay, check idle. Yep, I've got a hardware. Thrust lever. Thrust reverse lever stowed. Engine 1, 2 master, check off again. Check norm for the start selector. ATC standby, TCAS standby. So we are going to be asked to go into mode Charlie on the ground here. But for now, we want to go into ATC standby. That's in standby. And all good. Okay, so ATC standby, TCAS standby. ATC alt reporting is on. That's not what we've been asked to do yet. ATC system is 1. FMS prepared. Okay, so we've put our route in. We now need to put our weights in. So let's go into ISCS. I want to get our final load here. So that's 0 fuel weight CG 20.8 and 174. So if I go into here, go to reset to current. So we've got 0 fuel weight of 174,400, 261 passengers, 7,000 tons of cargo weight in the front, just under 7 in the back, 15,500 tons of fuel in the back. So that's all correct. So 0 fuel weight is 20.8, gross weight, centre of gravity is 23.1. So we can now get that into the computer. Let's just quickly check the ATIS. Runway news 02, so that's going to be a much shorter takeoff. Okay, so we're on runway 02. Let's stick that into our flight plan. Flight plan, LPPT, departing runway 02. Our departure route will be Exeter 1 November. Exeter 1 November. Temporary insert, and we should now see on our, if I just zoom in a touch, it's a straight out departure, straight to the north. Straight to the north, followed all the way up. Might be able to see Bilbao. No, not quite. Straight to the north from here. All looks good, and we'll get the proper ATIS information in a moment. That's info Q. I'll just make a note of that. So we are Tomjet 84 Romeo, stand 301, information Quebec, and the QNH is 1021 1021. So if we go into takeoff performance, runway 02, compute, So we have V1 of 145, V rotate 145, V2 147. 54547. I want to try and avoid this time the issue that we get every time where we don't put these in. So block fuel will be 15.5. Zero fuel weight is 174. There we go. I think that's the step that we missed last time when we got the errors on the takeoff roll. IRS init, that's all aligned. Seatbelt, parking brake, everything's green. Performance, V1 is 145. 145 for the takeoff, for the rotate, 147 for V2. That's engine out, best rate of climb. We are going to do flaps 1. Can we do flex temperature? Flex takeoff, so flex standard, flex 73. So it's suggesting a derated takeoff to flex temperature 73. Yeah, it's not allowing it, so it doesn't let you do a flex takeoff. So if we change this from flex to toga, recompute, we get 141, 141, 144, 141. Sometimes you can grab the value from those fields and bring them back. There we go. Okay, so quite light, quite a slow speed for takeoff. I think we're good. Let's go back to checklists. All done. Loudspeaker, barrow reference onto 120, 1012, sorry, 12021. Flight directors, oh, not landing. Not going to use VOR. FCU is set. So we need to get in contact with ground. C set. Crew supply. EFIS, DMC select normal. Yep, so all the screens are in the right place. PFD brightness is checked. PFD is checked. ND is checked. ECAM press check landing elevation is auto. So if we go down here to the pressure screen, landing elevation is currently in auto. ECAM status check. So go down here, hit the status button. All normal. IRSs are aligned. Fuel quantity has been checked. Takeoff briefing is performed. We've checked the load sheet. Fuel quantity is checked. Seating position is nice and comfortable. HUD is not installed. Takeoff data check revised. MCDU into config. If APU is not running yet, we'll now go through the APU start process. So we do this by, first of all, switching on the master switch, and that should switch on the APU screen down here. Hit the start button on the APU. And what we'll see is the flap will open, so it can start bringing air into the APU. Flap is now open. Engine is now turning, or the turbine is now turning. Exhaust gas temperatures increasing. Should start to see fuel flow or fuel used increasing in a moment. Now this little turbine in the tail of the aircraft provides us with both electricity, so we'll start to see electricity become available at the top left, but also bleed air, high pressurized air, which we'll start to see at the top right in a moment too. So we've now got 41 pounds per square inch of bleed air, and we've now got 115 volts of power at 400 hertz coming out of the generator there. So we can switch across to the APU generator. So that should be on auto. APU bleed, so we've now got air coming into the aircraft from the APU, and we can now start to turn off the external power. So if we go back into ISCS, ground services, turn both of those off. Okay, so we are fully within our own power. That's not the right camera mode, but it's quite a cool view anyway. There is the very busy city of Lisbon. And what we're going to do is we're going to push back onto what I think is uniform here, taxi down here, go straight onto runway 02. Nice short taxi. But first we need to contact our friend in ground, so that is 121755. Just listen now to make sure that there's nobody else broadcasting. Okay, here we go. Have I filed the flight plan? I have. Dan 301 and an Airbus 330-900. Lisbon ground, good morning. Tomjet 84 Romeo, stand 301, Airbus A330-900, information Quebec, QNH 1021, request clearance to Bilbao.
Tomjet 84 Romeo, Lisbon ground, good day. Information Romeo is current, QNH 1021, you're clear to the destination by the Exceeder 1 November departure, stroking 0334.
Cleared as filed via the Exceeder 1 November departure, squawk 0334, Tomjet 84 Romeo, and we'll get information Romeo.
Tomjet 84 Romeo, that's correct. Report when ready.
So we are now on Romeo, so if we go down to LPPT ATIS, still using 02, what's changed? After landing, vacate via via H. Wind variable 4 knots, temperature 28. I think the dew point is the only thing that's changed. I think that may have increased 1 degree. So information Romeo is now current 0334. 0334. Does it say anything about mode Charlie? So last time, oh hang on. Lisboa, squawk mode Charlie on the ground, so let's go into mode Charlie now. That gives altitude reporting and location reporting, so we're going to put that into on. That's on. We're in standby on TCAS. I think that's all good. Lisboa ground, Tomjet 84 Romeo, request push and start.
Please report. Disregard Tomjet 84 Romeo, push just approved facing south.
Push start approved, face south, Tomjet 84 Romeo. Okay, let's get this in the air. So if we go into better pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
So here's our Portuguese friend. And drive into our nose gear and lift it up.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. ready to connect.
You can see he's lifting the nose wheel up.
Still connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Parking brake released. Going to put our engine ignition into
Starting push back.
auto.
You may start the engines.
And we may start the engine. So we're going to start engine 1. External power's off. External power off. We haven't started the beacon yet. So beacon light is on. Engine start. Engine master on. Engine idle parameters we're going to check. So we've got EGT still ambient. Got N2 spinning. EGT is now increasing. N3 turbine is now spinning. So this is a 3-spool Rolls-Royce engine. Trent 7000 or Trent 8000. You see we're turning towards the south here. And then you get this little box over the top of the N1 speed when it's in start mode. So AGT is increasing nicely. N1 speed, that's the big fan on the front of the engine, is spinning. Up. APU battery is off. Okay, so that's something I've missed from the startup checklist. Nose wheel steering is disconnected, that's fine. We've now got engine available, which means that we've got the we can turn on the engine generator, but it's already in auto mode, so it's done it for us. Now we can start engine 2, starting engine 2. Now our friend here is going to ask us to set the parking brake in just a moment. But actually we want to be on that line there. We want to be in this taxiway. Doing a great job. Very, very big aircraft, this. I don't think the A330s get the love they deserve. Slightly off centre.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Is it though? I'll let him off. Yeah, it's not too bad.
Connecting tow. Stand by.
Okay, so still got the box over the engines, over the right engine. N2 speed is coming up, so you can see the idle speed is 53%. EGT is higher than idle here because we're just pumping a bit of fuel in to get it turning, and then it'll settle back down to a cooler EGT. We're going to disconnect, and I'm not sure if you could see that. We'll get the hand signals from our friend in the tug. While we're here, we're going to set our flaps to 1+F, and we are going to set our lights, but let's follow the checklist for that. So engines are both started. After start, engine selected back to norm.
Bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
APU bleed to off. APU bleed to off. Staying slightly zoomed out so we can see our. This one, get the signals out of the left window. So APU bleed is off. Engine anti-ice is Neither are required. APU master, if not required, we'll set that to off. Let's get these signals first. Just magically appears out of his tug. There he is, and he's got the steering wheel disconnect pin in his hand. All hunky-dory there. So yeah, we're going to turn off the APU master. We've now got two very large jet engines powering the aircraft. Ground spoilers to arm, so we'll just pull that up. Ground spoilers armed, rudder trim is 0, flaps have been set, pitch trim is automatic. ECAM status is normal. Nose wheel steering disconnect memo, check not displayed, so yeah, we don't have nose wheel steering disconnect on there anymore. ECAM door slides all armed, so we can go into the doors page. Doors, all slides are armed. Clear to disconnect has been announced. Ready for taxi. Obtain taxi clearance. So I reckon this is going to be Victor and then holding point. What's that holding point there? November 1. Lisbon ground, Tomjet 84 Romeo, request taxi.
Tomjet 84 Romeo, taxi straight ahead, holding point November 2, Romeo 02, and unfortunately no more further ATC available, so I'm going to advise you want to 2-8, have a safe flight, and thanks for flying.
Taxi straight ahead to November 2, and thanks for all the help. Tomjet 84 Romeo.
See ya.
Cool, nice and easy. Let's hope that X-plane is a bit more stable today. So, parking brakes are off. So we've got some memos on here. Auto brake needs to be on max, and then takeoff config check needs to be normal. That's all good. Predictive wind shear is currently off. Set that to auto. And TCAS is in standby, but we'll set that as we go. So taxi straight ahead to November 1, and then once we get down to November 1, I'm going to switch across to Unicom and declare our intentions to depart. And then we're pretty much in uncontrolled airspace at that point, just flying in Class G in the UK. So completely idle thrust here, but it's quite light. There's enough power to get us moving, even though it's a huge, huge aircraft. Drive the nose a little bit into the corner before turning, because that nose wheel is behind the cockpit. Now then, we're clear to November 2, but we still need to abide by good radio procedures. So we'll switch across to Unicom, and then we'll say Lisboa traffic, Tomjet 84 Romeo, lining up and departing runway 02, Lisboa. There we go. So we're now good to occupy the runway. As we roll onto the runway, I'm going to switch on our strobes, wing lights, switch on all the lights. Let's get nice and visible. Nothing on the approach, nothing coming in the other way. Okay, that looks good. Engines forward, both coming up nicely. Into toga. Pitch trim CG, I disagree. I'm not setting this up properly by the looks of things. But it's fine. We can still fly this thing manually. Come up to V1 rotate. Gently pull back, which is very light today. Keep that nose coming up. Accelerating fast. Slight retract speed. Gear up. That's in nav TCAS standby, which is correct. Easily solved. That just disappears once we've solved that problem. So lever into the climb detent. Satellite imagery of Lisbon. Slightly below the green crossbar, just simply because I want to get a bit more speed, a bit more energy. And let's just zoom in so I can see the route. To the outer marker. That's quite familiar to us now, after doing this flight a couple of times now. So remember, this is a test flight. We are either going to land in Bilbao, or we're going to try and find out what the problem with X-Plane was, so we can do more of these flights reliably. So we want to climb up to our altitude of 330. We've got 3 pips, which is... So normally when the autopilot is off. So we'll pull for standard pressure setting. Left autopilot is on, climbing us to 33,000 feet on our planned route. So let's go through our the other thing I always forget to do. Start the stopwatch, which starts down here on the navigation display, the ND. Nice view outside. Landing, turning, external light, runway turn off on. We did turn on all the lights, announced the takeoff, released the brakes, did all of this. After takeoff, APU bleed is off, APU master is off, APU master is off, APU bleed is off. Check, check. TCAS is now in TARA. We don't need anti-ice protection today. In the climb, MCDU PF, so that's pilot flying. Look at the performance climb mode. Performance mode, we're in climb, correct. Pilot monitoring should be on flight plan, so we'll get the flight plan over on this one here. FCU FMGS as required, transaltitude, bar reference to standard, which we've done. Weather radar is required, engine anti-ice not required. And then at 10,000 feet, which is going to be with us very, very soon. Landing lights off, seatbelt as required, EFIS options as required, ECAM memo review. So we'll do landing lights, we'll turn off all the non-essential lights. So we need our nav lights on, we don't need our wing lights on, we need our strobe lights on, don't need runway turn off lights, don't need landing lights, don't need nose lights. Seatbelts can also come off because it's a nice smooth flight. And we're going to have a look at the ECAM memo. So what's really interesting about the Airbus EFIS system, also let's just turn off the armed spoilers, is during takeoff you may have noticed, but I'm not sure you would have seen it, there's a little message on here which pops up saying TO inhibit, takeoff inhibit. And what that basically means is the system will start to hide messages that are non-critical during the takeoff roll. So one of the things that may happen is, recently on the Air India Dreamliner that crashed in, was it Ahmedabad? During the engine issues that they had, the RAT deployed, the ram air turbine deployed, which is an external propeller that gets spun by the air flowing over it, and it gives them hydraulic and electrical power. That somebody mentioned on avherald.net, saying that maybe they saw the RAT had been deployed and that triggered some response. But actually, in the Airbus and the Dreamliner, to the best of my knowledge, the RAT deployment is one of those things that's actually inhibited. It's one of the messages that is inhibited during takeoff. So the aircraft doesn't tell you everything during takeoff, so you can focus on a safe takeoff, and then you can solve problems in the air. So what we have to do now is go to the recall button and hope that normal appears on here, and when we hit on status, it says normal down there. So everything is looking good. The aircraft hasn't hidden any non-critical messages from us during takeoff. Nothing was inhibited. This is the latest version, latest non-beta version of X-Plane 12. I think actually we may have taken a bit of a step backwards on cloud quality. The ground is not looking great, but that's just limitations of the quality of the satellite imagery for this region, which looks a bit blurry. But it matters little when you fly in IFR heavy jets at 33,000 feet, or at least that's where we'll be shortly. So we did the ECAM memo. I'm not using navigate, just let the computer handle that. Secondary flight plan is not set up. Optimal max altitude is in the performance. Nope. Progress. Yeah. So optimal flight level is 390. We're just going to fly at 330 because we're not going to go that far today. It's all good. And then once we get into the cruise, we'll do another ECAM memo review. Check the system pages, check the flight progress, monitor the fuel, make sure our nav accuracy is where it needs to be, see if we need to do any step flight level changes, which we won't because we'll just stay at 330, and then we'll just check weather radar and cabin temperature. But for now, with a little bit of jagged edges along the bottom of that cloud, and I don't know what the heck's going on there. Definitely looks like a backward step on cloud quality. Ew. Yeah, we're going to enjoy the flight. We'll be through these clouds in just a moment, and then we'll be on top where it's nice and blue skies. You can see you can have 2 guests in the cockpit. It's quite a wide cockpit on the 330. Okay, so it's currently 12:25 UTC. What is our predicted arrival time? UTC 13:22, so just under an hour of flight time. That'll take us to 2:23 UK time. So we're in the clouds now. Seeing a little bit of bumpiness. Not really. You don't always see bumps going through cumulus clouds, but more often than not you do. You do see a little bit of bump. Let's bring X-Pilot back up. Still got no centres. A lot of Porto and Lisbon controllers on. Nobody in Bilbao though. Okay, so let's just take a look at our flight plan. What I'm looking for here is the arrival, so we're going to do the DGO to Foxtrot arrival. So there's DGO. So if we go to destination LEBB, we're going to go to arrival. We're going to land on runway. We'll do the ILS 30 Zulu. So the Zulu is the most commonly used arrival. And we'll do the DGO to Foxtrot. Are we doing it via? So DGO is Domingo. We'll go to CEGAM. So we're not going to do it via. Temporary insert. And then what we can do is switch across to here and do landing performance. This is set up for Bilbao 30, wind is 280 at 8, is that right? I don't think that's right. If I type .wx, that's weather, LEBP, we can find out that the weather is 280 at 8 knots. That is absolutely correct. Outside air temperature is 26, that's also correct. QNH 1025 is correct. It's got our landing weight. So if we just reset that, so you can see the landing weight is updating. So landing distance required. So it's not the longest runway in the world, but not too bad. So the landing distance required is going to be 1.5 kilometers, but it's a 2.1 kilometer runway. So maximum landing distance will be 1.7 or 1.8 kilometers, which gives us a margin of only 300 meters. It's not a lot of margin. I really want to be putting this down just after the numbers, if I can. So landing config will be full flaps. We want to be as slow as possible because it's a short runway. Air conditioning will be on. Brake mode will be low. Just might as well do that now. Auto brake is on low. Pilot V approach is 0. So okay, I guess we can change that. So if we go to performance, and then we go to next phase, and then approach, so VAP is going to be 143. Full is bigger, so we can actually switch between full and configuration 3. We'll do full. The VAP is going to be 143. Let's just see if that makes any difference. On here, 143. Compute. Tiny bit of difference. Maximum landing distance has increased very slightly. So yeah, predicted landing distance is between 1.5 and 1.8 kilometers. All good. And it says engine out, go around, gradient 6.8%. Max landing weight for performance is 251, status is okay. And yeah, it's pulled in its own METAR for LEBB. That's quite clever. So we can monitor, see where we are currently. So we are under max landing weight. Max landing weight is 191 tons. Our current gross weight can we find our gross weight? So I think our takeoff weight was 186 and our gross weight was 174 plus fuel, which is 12. So yeah, our current weight is 186 tons. So we are under max landing weight. We can land at our current weight, no problem at all. And we're above the clouds with nothing but blue sky. Net cruise, so we're now only burning. Where's our fuel flow? We're now burning 2.2 tons per engine per hour. Fuel on board is 12 tons. Yeah, 12.3 tons. So it's taken us 3.5 tons, oh sorry, 3.2 tons of fuel to get up to cruise altitude. This is quite nice. And we have a centre online. Lisboa Control East expanded centre. So they'll probably be in touch soon. 125.55. Just pop it in the standby just for now in case they get in contact. I think they will. And as if on cue, 125.55, flip flop. What are they at Lisboa Control? Lisboa Control, good afternoon. Tomjet 84 Romeo, flight level 330.
Tomjet 84 Romeo Lisboa, boa tarde, identified, confirm even level requested.
Request flight level 340, Tomjet 84 Romeo.
Tomjet 84 Romeo, Roger, climb flight level 340.
Climb flight level 340, Tomjet 84 Romeo. So,
Alpine 18 Quebec X-ray with the flight level
340, pull. So now doing an operational climb. Sorry, we're doing an open climb. Now this, normally if you're flying...
Quebec X-ray Lisboa, boa tarde, identified, proceed direct Bardi.
Direct battery, Alpine 18 Quebec X-ray.
769 with you, descend into 19,000. Genex 769, Lisboa, boa tarde, identified, continue descend flight level 80 direct Ruib, information alpha current.
So we've got an aircraft crossing our path, which is descending. There we go.
Descend flight level 80.
So we have crashed. Okay, not unexpected. Quite disappointing though. And what I'm going to do, sorry, I appreciate this is not the most amazing thing to watch right now, but I'm going to have a look in the log file. Try and figure out what's just happened. Honestly, there's nothing obvious in here. The last thing it did was loaded custom scenery, auto ortho. So I think it might be auto ortho trying to load some scenery in. Okay, that's the next thing that we need to try. I'm going to try another flight without auto-ortho, not right now, and we'll see if that makes it more stable, and if it is, then I need an alternative to auto-ortho. Okay, appreciate your time today. Thanks for helping me debug. I'll see you again soon.